Hi, I'm Cheryl, and I'm a filmmaker. No, I'm not really a filmmaker, but I have a videotaping business with my friend Tamara, and I work at a video store, so I'm working on being a filmmaker. The problem is I don't know what I want to make a film on. I know it has to be about black women because our stories have never been told. So I've been renting movies. No, I haven't been renting movies, but I get movies from the video store that I work at, and I've taken all these films out from the 30s and 40s with black actresses in them, like Hattie McDaniel and Louise Beavers. And in these films, in some of the films, the black actresses aren't even listed in the credits, and I was just totally shocked by that. So in this one film that came into the store, Plantation Memories, I saw the most beautiful black mammy named Elsie. And I just had to show this, so watch.
Oh, don't cry, Missy. Master Charles is coming back, for sure. I know he is. Do you really think so, Elsie? Oh, yes, Missy Barbara, I know he is. I prayed to God all night long, and this morning, his little angel told me that he was coming back. Back to you.
Her name, the Watermelon Woman. That's right, Watermelon Woman. Is Watermelon Woman her first name, her last name, or is it her whole name? I don't know, but girlfriend has it going on, and I think I've figured out what my project's gonna be on. I'm gonna make a movie about her. I'm gonna find out what her real name is, who she was and is, everything I can find out about her. Because something in her face, something in the way she looks and moves is serious, is interesting. And I'm gonna just tell you all about it.
Hello, welcome to Movie Humpers. My name, Bob Sham.
My name, Angela.
The sounds here may be dogs.
Dogs with a W.
Or the sound of passionate lesbian lovemaking.
Oh my God.
That's like the thing of this movie, really.
Yeah, it gets hot for a second.
I mean, there's a lot going on in this movie.
This movie is 3 different movies.
This was paid for by the National Endowment of the Arts, $300,000. And after it came out, some Republican senator from somewhere was like, "This is a gay movie, and it had gay sex in it."
Sure did.
This is what we should be funding.
Yeah.
More stuff like this.
I agree.
But
Young artists.
But it actually changed how that gets distributed. So no more hard woman-on-woman nipple sucking.
I was surprised at how much of their bodies we saw.
For a hot moment, we were like Canada, like when they give money for people to make movies or whatever.
These movies, these last few, The Living End and this one, there was some sexy...
Yeah, these are some sexy movies. We're discussing the first movie
that we know of.
The first movie directed by a black lesbian that is publicly out.
Yes.
Honestly, let me be honest here.
Yeah.
When it comes to black women in general directing movies,
I know it's not that common. I know.
Not. Even today, there's more today, and we will actually delve into that early next year. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's not all of that. So when you're I don't know if she was conscious that she was going to be the first black lesbian to direct the movie, but it really, 1996, you end up being the first.
I feel that she
probably was conscious.
Did you say the movie title yet?
We're discussing The Watermelon Woman from 1996, directed by Cheryl Dunye. Written by Cheryl Dunye, starring Cheryl Dunye, Valerie Walker, Guinevere Turner, and Lisa Marie Bronson.
What we get in this movie is the movie of our main character making a movie. Cheryl is making a movie.
We got movies within movies here.
And then we also have mockumentary happening. Not mockumentary in that it's making fun of anything, but it's not real.
The movie she's making within a movie is a documentary.
It is a documentary, but it is a fictional.
It serves a purpose as to explain some elements of the history of particularly black women in film. And this movie definitely points out how limited these roles always were. It was hard enough for being a black man, and there was only maybe a handful during a time and if they were stars, black stars, they were almost always men.
Yes.
And then you talk, the woman from Gone with the Wind.
Yes.
Was probably the most prominent one for a long time, and she would play maids and shit and and slaves.
The third movie that you have going on feels just like a home movie because there's just these clips of them dancing in the street. You know, there's just like stuff happening that's just very, very lo-fi.
Another movie similar to Living In that feels so 90s.
Yes.
By the fact that it did make me miss video stores.
They work in a video store, her and her friends.
But the way that they interact with each other, the low budget nature of it, I mean, it may be a bit of an unfair comparison, but I think the low budget nature of it works out to this particular kind of style, like a black lesbian clerks in a video store.
Cheryl, Tamara, did either of you take an order for Diana Rolland?
Who?
Rolland, this is a new account. I just got a call from Big Black Productions. And they don't have bald black ball busters. The rest of her order is here. But when you get a chance, would you give her a call and let her know that title's unavailable? But Big Black Bob is?
Sure.
They're infighting with each other, with their boss, Bob. Everything has got to be Bob's method. And they even hire in this young white chick who's this skinny little girl with crazy hair and a bunch of piercings. And our main character, her name is Cheryl in the movie, right? Cheryl is friendly to her, but her best friend who also works there, Tamara, just sort of hates her on principle. The
Tamara-Cheryl relationship is the best.
It really is. It's very real.
It feels very genuine.
Yes.
Feels very real. And yeah, Tamara is an interesting character because she's very just fed up with a lot of her surroundings. Her and Cheryl share like a videographer business on the side where they film weddings and shit. Right.
Yeah.
And they have to share the equipment. This movie is incredibly layered all the way through.
Yeah.
It's so funny because we talk about a lesbian love scene that occurs where Cheryl does meet a woman named, I forget her name, but Diana, but she's played by Guinevere Turner, and it mirrors what Cheryl is studying as she's trying to look for a woman who played this lady who was only this is a fictional actor in a fictional movie where she finds this old movie and she becomes very drawn into this actor who was only credited as the Watermelon Woman.
Watermelon Woman. And so she starts trying to figure out who the Watermelon Woman is. And as she finds out more about her, her name is Faye Richardson, goes by different names, Faith Richards, all kinds of stuff. But she learns, and again, this is a fictional story within, she learns that this woman was a lesbian. They keep saying things like she's part of the sisterhood or in the family.
Right.
And that means you're a lesbian. She was dating a white filmmaker woman. That was almost completely unheard of, to the point where she interviews an actual like film teacher, right, in this movie? You seem to recognize this woman.
Camille Paglia.
Yeah.
She comes out of the second wave feminist movement, but she's a prominent social and cultural critic over the years. A very controversial woman, especially if you're really all about that second wave Gloria Steinem level feminism. You probably hate Camille Paglia. There's not a lot of love there. But Paglia, she's definitely had her controversies over the years. She's very fiery, polarizing intellectual woman, but also an open lesbian at a time in which I was actually reading up a little bit on what she's been up to lately. I'm not an expert on Paglia, but she's so notorious that when she pops up, it's usually someone in reaction to her.
Sure.
And she has completely trashed other people within the second wave feminist sphere. she is like completely like trashed them all, and they have no love for her either. I read recently that she considers herself transgender. She just hasn't transitioned.
Sure. And she says
an interracial relationship at this time it's mind-boggling, because we can see as decades after World War II, and look who's guess who's coming to dinner. You can see how charged the question of any sort of interracial relationship was.
Well, we know when we look back how gay Hollywood truly was.
We do know that Hollywood was truly gay. The thing that makes me sad about the fact that this is fiction is there's a line at the very end of this movie, and Cheryl quotes herself. It says something along the lines of, where you can't find, sometimes you have to make history, right? So the sad part is, if she could have found a real person to make this movie about, she might have. And I'm sure things like that definitely happened. You just didn't know, and it was way more secretive. But one thing that I love about this movie is, within those different movies that are happening, the different ways in which they're filmed. The stuff that feels more like a home video, or when they're at their gigs filming the movies at the beginning.
Some of it looked like the video recorder I had in like the early
1000%.
late 90s.
And then you cut to the movie, and it's pretty crisp and clear.
Yeah.
And we do get Cheryl talking directly to the camera, but this is a story about her also, right? Her making her way through this. And then you get these old clips of old Hollywood and these pictures that they made.
Which they made these clips.
They made these clips and they made these pictures, and they're
that's
beautiful.
Another style,
They're beautiful.
Cheryl,
and the levels, the levels of like artistry, even within the different handling of those situations, was beautiful.
In terms of any acting or lines involved, there's like when Cheryl is talking, I think on the trailer I presented at the front of this episode is an example of that, explaining herself. She does seem a little awkward, and there are times in which they've kind of flubbed their line a little bit, and they don't reshoot the scene for whatever reason. You know, when people talk for real, sometimes they're not saying everything correctly or right, you know?
You interrupt yourself a lot.
So there's certain points where it's like, why wouldn't they just recut that conversation or do this? And then you get an actual lesbian love scene that is so well executed and so thoughtfully done. Like, as far as sex scenes go, if there was like a best sex scene category in a movie, you could throw this in there, right?
100%.
Like, genuinely erotic and passionate.
And felt real.
And but it feels like it's just like this rose in the middle of a very overall, like, the movie feels strange in all of its layers. And
it does.
And I can't say it doesn't work, but it does come off very strange.
It's very strange. I felt a little awkward in the very beginning of this movie, because, and I don't know, I'll have to watch the trailer. I don't know if this is the part that you played, but she very first sits down, and I'm going to ad-lib, but she basically is doing her intro to us. But she says,
"Hi, I'm Cheryl, and I'm a filmmaker. I'm not really a filmmaker, but I have a videotaping business with my friend Tamara, and I work at a video store, so I'm working on being a filmmaker. The problem is I don't know what I want to make a film on."
I was sitting there like, why didn't you just say it? But I know that she's trying to be real, and I'm assuming that wasn't rehearsed.
People talk like that.
I know.
Especially when they're very conscientious about something that they're putting out there.
Yes. And that's when, in the beginning, it made me uncomfortable, right? Because I didn't necessarily feel that I was in safe hands on a filmmaker. But as it kept going, it made sense. Mm-hmm. It really is so much more clever than you might think on surface.
So the Cheryl and Tamara relationship, I mean, Tamara's is in a relationship.
She's a horny.
Yeah, she's the horniest person. Actually, it's revealed that Cheryl is the horniest after that scene, but we will, but they go to a club trying to set Cheryl up with this woman who's very narcissistic.
Oh my God.
I think it's time for me to sing my song.
What song? Not the one you tried to, sang back in college.
Right. The one I sang for the Spike Lee audition at the Black Deb Ball. Tell them, Stacy. Tell them how I almost got the part.
This movie features bad lesbian karaoke, and I'm down with any bad karaoke.
Hell yeah.
I hate it when karaoke's good. It should be bad.
On the floor, 'cause we're gonna boogie, oogie, oogie till you just can't boogie no more.
Yes, more of that, please.
Loving you is more than just a dream come true. And everything that I do is out of loving you.
But they're trying to set her up with this woman, and it's just not her type. But she does eventually, they meet through the video store, but she does start to date Diane. And as she gets deeper in the relationship with Diane, that's when she's learning about Faye's relationship with the white director.
Yeah.
And you can see the pictures right up above us.
Oh, yeah.
We got the old Faye with her director lover, and then you got Cheryl next to Diana, and it parallels each other. They're even drinking wine together.
Yeah.
And that is on purpose.
Absolutely.
But it's kind of interesting to me, though, how when it gets deep into the stuff, and Cheryl is getting help with this other skinny girl, white girl employee that they work with, Tamara is accusing people of shoehorning in on, they're very interested in what Cheryl is doing, so they're kind of shoehorning in on it.
I did not invite you over here to talk about your wannabe black girlfriend.
Tamara, Diana doesn't want to be black. I mean, I'm getting into her. Can't you see that?
All I see is that once again you were going out with a white girl acting like she wants to be black, and you were being a black girl acting like she want to be white. I mean, what's up with you, Cheryl? You don't like the color of your skin nowadays?
Tamara, I'm black. I mean, who's to say that dating somebody white doesn't make me black? I mean, who's to say anything about who I fuck in the goddamn first place, okay?
Tamara is angry.
She is.
And you say shoehorning in. Neither one of those women are shoehorning in. So basically, from where I was sitting, what
Maybe
I
a harsh
seemed,
word, but they are interested. They're like
interested,
to be involved.
but so basically, the young girl who works at the video store is also a lesbian, and she goes to this collective in another city where they have all these photos. The woman who works there is actually so interesting too, because she is just repeating herself so much about, we're not very organized, but we want to be organized, and someday we will at Clit. And then she's just dumping out these boxes of photos willy-nilly. Right. But it's this archive of lesbian history. And that girl already goes there. So she says to Cheryl, why don't you come with me sometime? This could be, good for your thing. And so she is filming Cheryl there. So she's like helping, but she's just friendly. She's not trying to be like, let me help you with your movie. And then Diana comes over to dinner. They feel as though they're already ready to not like her because she is a white chick who seems to be affluent. Right? As she's talking, she talks about how
we traveled everywhere. I was born when we were stationed in Jamaica.
You were born in Jamaica?
Yeah, I love telling people where I was born. But we lived everywhere. We lived in Germany and California and Iceland.
Iceland,
Bangladesh, Tel Aviv. I've lived just about everywhere.
This is what leads Tamara to accuse her of essentially fetishizing blackness.
yes, she thinks she wants to be black.
And Cheryl uncovers from Diana, she says that a lot of her early lovers were black men. And that relationship doesn't work out. Like, it falls apart off screen. We don't see the end of that relationship. Cheryl just moves forward. It does seem like Cheryl does consider Tamara's point there, because after she reveals her past and her lovers and the race she prefers, it doesn't seem like that big a deal. But from what we're seeing here, it does bother Cheryl ultimately, and she moves forward. Like, the film project becomes the most important.
Part of it is when they start talking about she just wants to be black, and they say things right in front of her, which is crazy. Yeah. But it's because she has found the sister of the lover of Faye.
All that talk about Faye and that white woman got me to remember some unpleasant things about the past. Things that upset me and things that had upset Faye when she was alive.
And she's set up this talk, and they're going to go talk together. Well, it makes sense that she would go talk together with her because it's a friend of her family or whatever. But Tamara thinks that's too much. Oh, you two are going to go do it? But then in that same scene, she also gets up to get dressed and says, I need to go work on the film. And Diana questions her, why do you have to go do that? It's this weird thing where Cheryl kind of steps back, and it's like, the film is important to me.
Yeah.
And you are now minimizing the film. And I'm now seeing my friend's point. Because do you want to be with me?
And that's a little strange because Diane was not at all against that up to that point. And there's certain points in which the research is going on where a lot of things seem to be conveniently coming together.
Yes.
I mean, you're trying to find a woman who is credited. I mean, it's all fictional, but who is credited as only the watermelon woman.
Yeah.
This should be way harder to uncover than it would have been.
Oh, we've seen this in real life so many times and in movies where the thing that attracts someone to someone else then becomes the block between them, because you would think Diana was attracted to the passion in Cheryl and the creativity and the artistry. But then when Cheryl says, hey, had a good time this afternoon, got to go work on my project, that's not okay.
It becomes about time once what seems like commitment is happening.
Exactly. But you have to step back and say, I like this person because they're passionate about these things. And of course they're going to do their thing.
Very convenient that her mother happens to know who the watermelon woman is.
Well, but she says she doesn't, but she gives her the name of another friend to talk to.
They used to hang out in clubs back in the day when black artists would come and perform in front of
the
people.
other woman with no hair, who was her mom's friend, that's who told her all that. That's who knew Faye's name. That's who had photos of Faye and said, oh yeah, we used to hang out. She used to flirt with all the girls.
They had her mom like hanging out with people in the 20s in this timeline.
Yeah, and this is 90s.
I hear that black don't crack, but holy shit.
There ain't no way.
the people have been aged up here quite a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
she would have had to have her in like her 50s.
Yeah. 96, that's not that long ago for 1920. But I like it when they go to that one man's house who is obviously gay, and he's a black film historian.
Oh, yes.
And has all that stuff.
But he says, I don't really have as much about the ladies.
Martin?
Martha Page. She was a white woman director.
Martha, a woman, huh? Women are not my specialty, I tell you.
Of course they aren't. Look at you.
What was that, Tamara?
Tamara teases him and he gets all testy about it. It's it's the charm, the interactive charm between these characters and the way they their lives intersect, but it does come through even if some of the the acting points don't really shine that much. There is a familiarity between everyone here that feels comfortable, personable.
You said earlier about how she and Diana break up off screen. There's a lot of stuff that happens off screen that seems as though it would be more important to show. So she gets arrested at one point. She goes to an old building and she has her camera and she's wearing like a big shirt. These cops think that she's a crack addict boy and they do take her away. But we never know what happens from that. Obviously, she probably called someone and it was not a thing and she wasn't high.
Well, Cheryl keeps busy doing a lot of TV stuff. I think you watch Umbrella Academy.
Yeah, I love Umbrella
Academy. She's directed episodes of that. She's very prominent in TV, and
I think that's so cool.
But she has earned her place in film history with The Watermelon Woman, her low budget but historically significant.
And you told me Diana actually wrote.
Yeah, she wrote.
She's like a screenwriter.
American Psycho. She's done some writing. She's done some acting over the years.
She adapted.
But adapted from the Bret Easton Ellis. But that's pretty fun. She hooked up with the lady who wrote American Psycho.
That means we have seen her before, at least in that documentary about NC-17 ratings.
We've seen her. Yeah, we've seen her around.
Yeah,
for sure.
We have seen her. She looks familiar to me, but I didn't know why. Because she also kind of just looks like that classic thin, attractive woman from the 90s in this movie.
Yeah.
She's got the short hair. Like they could have played like Natalie Imbruglia's Torn behind her walking around the video store, and it would have made so much sense.
That song holds up, though. That song is timeless.
I love that song.
I know another lady originally.
It's a good song.
I know another lady originally sang that song.
Don't you blaspheme like that?
But it's true.
I believe you, but
Natalie
Imbruglia
sings it better than her. You can go compare the two. I don't care.
So
anyway. Good. The Watermelon Woman from 1996, directed by Cheryl Dunye. We're going to give this 1 through 5 each, combined for best out of 10. There is, it's got that low budget. It's low budget week this week, with the exception of our Hitchcock classic we discussed earlier.
It's low budget, but they took time to make certain things so much quality.
There is a context you have to look for here. There's always going to be these things that become low budget tropes that seem moments that might seem a little amateurish.
Yeah.
But when you consider what they had and what they accomplished with what they had, there are things that are accomplished here that, in terms of human relationships, that you don't see very often in movies with millions of dollars of budgets. And an incredibly well executed sex scene. Yes. It's so funny how well done this sex scene is, because there are other scenes, like I said, where it seems like they maybe could have reshot some
1000%.
things. But the sex scene, no.
They're so comfortable.
It's
so natural. They are just fucking.
It really, if the Academy Awards had a sex scene, apparently there's a thing in which the younger generations, I'm not going to speak for everyone, no people are a monolith.
Sure.
But there's this thing where people online complain about sex scenes in movies.
Okay.
But it seems like they're playing off of complaints that are dated. Like in the 80s and 90s, in like corny action movies, you'd get the cheesiest sex scenes. It used to be something that was a lot more common. It's not that common anymore. But for some reason, you'll see people on message boards complain when movies have a little bit of sex in them or something. And I just want to say, I don't get it.
No.
I want more. When you get horned up and you want to get nasty, what plot point leads you to that? What's this got to do with the plot of the movie? They're humans.
Yeah.
If they're eating, you're not going to be like, what does this eating food have to do with the plot of the movie? Human beings got a nut, all right?
Hell yeah.
So, more sex scenes.
Party!
I guess is what I'm saying. The Watermelon Woman, 1 through 5, how much do you give it?
I'm going to give it a 3.5.
I will match. Looky here. The Watermelon Woman ranks at a 7, a solid B film. It's right under the movies The Adventures of Robin Hood by Michael Curtiz and The Naked Gun. It's at least as good as those movies, if not better. Huh? Naked Gun, a classic. And The Watermelon Woman sets right alongside it in historical significance. Check the show notes for links, other places to find us. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Tell us what you think about it. What do you think about this steamy love scene? Are you mad at sex? When sex happens in a movie, are you mad like a little baby? Like and subscribe. Thank you. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Movies are gay.
So get on up.